What is up, Know Your Worth TV audience? My name is Efrain Lozada. I'm your host, and we have another nominee today. I am another two interviews in a day. I love this. I love that I'm able to collab with the Content Creators Experience and highlight these nominees that will be in house for the second annual Spotlight Award. This photographer is actually coming from Colorado. Is that correct? Is that where you're at?
Yep, Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado. So this is cool. It goes to show you that we do have some nominees coming from all different places within the United States. We even have, I think I heard someone's coming from Norway. So this is like some amazing
Yep.
stuff for people to just be traveling from all these places. And I really just get to highlight the stories of these individuals. And today we have Miss Mercedes, which is a photographer. You got to go check out her page. She has multiple pages because there's one like more family like, and then there's the little if you want to see a little bit more sexier side. So
Yeah,
she has some dope photography. So Miss Mercedes, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. The nerves are setting,
Good,
but they're
good.
exciting.
Listen, as we go through this 45 minutes to an hour will go by like nothing, and you realize like, oh, I could have kept going if I really had the time. Um,
Yeah.
But thank you for giving us your time. I know that you are 2 hours behind us, but it looked like you woke up prepared. You're ready for this interview. You're ready to give us life on the photography business. Not just that though, as we know Your Work TV, the platform is also highlighting that even though you see success all the time and happiness in these beautiful people, that there's always a story behind every single individual. All right. So we don't want you guys to lose that sight of it takes hard work, it takes dedication. And Mercedes, tell us a little bit about the photography, how you got into the world of photography.
So, honestly, I had like no if I was a little girl and you asked me like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would have never been like, I want to be a photographer. Like it was something that like sparked out of nothing, I want to say. So my husband actually, he had a camera when we first met. And he always had it and he was always taking pictures. But then when we had our daughter, I was inspired by like those cute little milestone pictures that like people would take of their babies. So I would
Mhm.
use his camera to take our daughters. And then people would always ask me like who took her pictures. And I was like, me? Like, what do you mean? And then family and friends, I started kind of just doing like their pictures and stuff with the camera. And then literally like once people like started offering to pay me for it, I was like, okay, like maybe I'm good. Like, hopefully that this could turn into something. And then I wouldn't say that I like got really good. I want to say up until like 4 years ago. Oh yeah, 4 years ago is when I like really started to see like a drastic change in photography and like at least my style and stuff. Like that's what I want to say is like I had more of a style and it was more of like my look instead of like, oh, I like how they edit. I want to edit like them, or I like
Mhm.
how they shot that. I want to shoot something like that. It's more of like I had an approach. I had my own editing style and like it felt more like instead of chasing after photography, it was like it's like an art to me now.
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
said that this really just started off based off of you taking nice pictures of your daughter.
exactly. That's exactly what it was. Her and
Wow.
her dad. Yeah,
How kids can really change the way that
really.
you see life and the way that you're maneuvering through life. I love that story. So
Yeah, it's
before then, you never picked up a camera?
never. I was 16 when I got pregnant with our daughter. And 7 yeah, I had her at 17. Me and my husband were dating for 2 months when we got pregnant with her. And then like he's always loved photography. So when he had the camera, I never thought, even pregnant, I never thought to pick it up. And then I literally was like, "Oh my gosh, those are such cute pictures. Like let me get the 1 month and 2 month and 3 month." And then I was like, "Wow, like I really loved it."
What a dope story. That's actually amazing. You had a hidden talent, didn't even know that there was a talent. And to
Exactly.
know
Yeah.
that your spouse was a part of that as well, right? Like, and I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
he used to do it and you're like, yeah, whatever, but not realizing that
Yeah.
you probably were really listening a little bit, seeing what he was doing.
All
Did
the
that kind
way.
of
I
help?
soak up. Yeah, I soak up game in out of photography, everything in life. I feel like I just soak up so much game from him. I'm like his little like mini me. Like he does this, and I'm like, okay, I want to do that too. Like, but he definitely like he helps me. He helps me with the camera settings and understanding like how to shoot manual and like just everything that like helped me progress. Like
Mhm.
he like has taught me so much. But it's also cool because with the editing aspect, like the editing process of photography, I'm teaching him. And it's just so cool that we get to like, you know,
Collab
like do
on.
it
Mhm.
together. Yeah, it's like a passion that we get to share together. And it's like it's a like a bonding, a big bonding moment in
I,
our
and I
in our
love how when you speak of him, it's like, listen, this is my best friend. Like, I
yeah, that's what I
love
mean.
this guy.
So
Yes. No, I'm so happy to hear that, and you can
thank
definitely
you.
see the happiness in the relationship. So, hats off to the both of you guys. Um, is the editing style the same? How is the editing between your editing and his editing?
So mine is definitely more warm, and I always tell people mine is not true to color. If you show up in red, it's not going to show up as red. It's going to show up in a different color. I always say it's like an orangey color, but his is very very true to color and like vibrant. And I love that. I love that we can like separate from the two, you know, because mine's like very very warm, and his is very like the greens pop a lot, and like I don't know how else to explain it. Like mine looks very very like golden hour sunsetty, and his looks
Mhm.
very very like fairy tale like in a sense.
For those that want to know exactly what that looks like, I was actually playing around in your Instagram yesterday, and it was the before and after ones. Um,
Yeah.
and I seen the before, and I'm like, but this is already good. And then you tap, and you're like, oh, but I see this is good
Wow.
too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So you already take good photos, but now it was how to make it you, how to make it stand
exactly,
as Mercedes photography. Um,
exactly.
so if you guys want to see what that looks like, what she's kind of expressing, you got to go to her Instagram page. As a matter of fact, we'll start that off now so people can get that jotted down. But go to her Instagram page. It's going to be that first highlight reel, if I'm not mistaken. And you get to really see the before picture, which is phenomenal. And then what
Yep.
she does when she edits the photo. So I was actually playing around. I think I went through all of them. I'm like, wow, this
It's
is so
so much
cool.
fun. And I
Yeah.
always tell people, like, with your photographer, when you're choosing your photographer, it's so important to look through their page and like
Mhm.
and look at their editing style and look at the tones that you like and look at the vibes, because you can't tell. Like I have so many people who are like, oh well, like I like it unedited. I'm like, girl, like that's like me giving you an unfinished like painting, you know? Like
Yeah.
I need to finish and add my final touches. So it's like before you come to me, make sure you know my style and how I
I love
shoot.
it. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Definitely have to put that out there. This is so amazing. This is so cool that you were able to where this all started for you. Like, I'm still in awe of that. And okay, so
Thank
you
you.
you got in photography. You've been doing this how many years now?
Oh my
8 years?
gosh. So my daughter's 8, so like 8 years. Yeah, but
8 years.
like professionally, I would say like 4 or 5, close to 4 or 5.
And what is your best? You know how some people they love to do maternity photos. Some people like to do what is your
Oh
type?
my, it's so hard because I have so many that I'm so passionate about. So the top two for me absolutely is maternity, because I'm super super passionate about pregnancy and birth and labor. And then number two, it's like so weird because it's like the life's kind of like it's so hard to merge them in my photography, but I try my best and I try not to really censor it. But it's kind of
Mhm.
like just like the realness and things, and like the culture, and showing like I don't know how to explain it. Like not so much censored. Like a lot of so like in our house, like a lot of mainly only the pictures that we have in our house is work that myself and my husband have done. I mean, if you look at my Instagram, it's like the rawness in the picture that you see, and it like makes you feel like you're literally there. Like
In the
any
moment, you
I don't
love the
know how to
in
put that
moment
in a
photos.
category. Yeah, I don't know how to put that in a category other than like the rawness, the realness. Like I want you to feel like you're there. I want you to smell the barbecue smoke, like all of that. That's my stuff. That's my shit.
Nice, nice, cool, cool. No, that's good. I see that you definitely do a lot of different photography, but it's cool to know what is that passion is, and anyone that's watching to know what that passion is, because ideally, if someone's going to book you, they need to know what it is that you really love to do. Have you
Exactly.
turned down any type of potential client because based off of what they wanted?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm a natural light photographer, and I know a lot of photographers will be like, "Oh, here comes the natural light photographers," but I don't really like studio lighting. I try not to. It's not my lane, and it's not that I don't think of it as beautiful, but like I love being able to play with the sun and like kind of having to work with the sun and the lighting in that way. It does make it a little bit more difficult in certain situations, but like a lot of people send me, I always ask them for inspiration pictures, and they send me ones that are done at a studio, obviously with studio lighting. And I'm like, girl, so I can add my pizzazz to it. And then I also have a friend out here in Denver who's also a photographer, and I always refer clients to her because that's her lane and that's more her style. So I'm like, I don't want to step out of my comfort zone, you know, when this is my lane, and you know, I like to stay in it.
You touched something else that I wanted that's really good. So you don't mind giving business to other people, like,
Oh no.
right? So
Not
I want
at
to
all.
talk about that because especially when you're in the photography business, people like to bash other photographers. So
Oh,
how important is it for you to say, build relationship with other photographers?
I think it's so important because especially in Denver, like there's a lot of photographers, but when I lived in Orlando, there's so many photographers in Orlando. So I don't think we have that many out here. So I think in a way and in a sense, we're gonna run into each other eventually. Like whether that be just like brought up in conversation or at like, you know, out in Denver and like seeing each other. And like how I look at it is there's enough clientele for everybody. And everybody wants a specific look, and if you're not that look, then that's okay. Like, you know, like how I say with the studio photography, like if they want exactly that and I'm like, girl, I can't do that, it's okay, you can go here. It doesn't make me feel like, oh damn, like I should have just done that, or I should have just learned studio lighting. It's like I want to help everybody win, and I don't care if we're in the same you know, like career path or whatever, because especially women, like, girl, I got you. Like, you need
Yeah.
a referral, like, you know, that's how I feel about it. Yeah, I want to see everybody win, especially women, especially Black women. You know, I got y'all.
Nah, that's good because people think that they get so selfish and greedy, but it's like we
Yeah,
have enough for all of us to eat, right? And then
exactly.
you just don't
There's
know
enough.
when that person may need you or you may need that other person, which I
Yeah,
always, and every time I have these interviews, it's so cool that we talk about networking communication because it happens for all of us. And if you don't have that, you're probably going to struggle at some point. Stop being so greedy. There's enough work for
yeah.
everybody.
Yes,
Um,
just show the love, spread the love, and it'll come back to you.
yep, yep. So do you and your husband ever do work together on the same projects?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Showstoppers thing that we did, that was the event like pop-up photo shoot. We collabed on that together. And then we also just did Mother's Day minis that we collabed on together. We're planning on Father's Day minis that we're gonna collab on together. And then what was the other one that we just did? Just like kind of like just walking around. We love just like pulling out our cameras together. Like we love going on like family outings, like to the zoo and stuff. And we love just taking pictures of the kids, and we'll like share the screen. Like, look what I got. I got a better shot than you. Like,
I
so,
love it. So what
yeah.
is it when you talk about Mother's Day mini and Father's Day mini, can you give us a little bit on it, elaborate on that so those that may want to be a part of that next event?
Yeah, yeah. So Mother's Day minis, they're when I say minis, it's like literally exactly that. It's like a mini photo shoot. It's not really a full session. So my full sessions are an hour long. Usually minis are like 15 to 20 minutes long. You get like less pictures, but it's cheaper. And I love doing mini sessions because I know that not everybody has the budget for a full session, which I completely 1000% respect. So I'm like, I still want to be able to be available to those who do have like, you know, are working with a smaller budget. So I love doing mini sessions for stuff like that. So for the Father's Day ones, it'll be, you know, just like dads and kids. And I think that's important too, because there's so many selfies and phone pictures that we get, you know, like of the dads and the kids. And I think professional pictures to like cherish forever are good. And then not, like I said, not a lot of people want to do a full photo shoot. They just want something quick and fast.
Yeah.
And that's what those are nice for.
This You have a very family story. You and your husband, how you guys come together, how you like to help with families. Did you come from a very family unit, you and your husband, or is this something that you're building now, setting that foundation for the future of your
Yeah,
grandkids and their grandkids?
my husband is definitely from a very, very family oriented family. I don't want to knock my family. I don't want to say that, but my family definitely went through so many struggles. But me and my sisters and my brother were all really, really close. I think because of like what we had to like go through and stuff. But like as for like a healthy family aspect that definitely came from my husband. Like I said, like literally my husband puts me on game about so much that I just didn't get at growing up, you know, like he's like, oh no, we don't do it like that. Like we do it like this and this, like, you know, but in a healthy approach, because I feel like growing up, I did grow up around a lot of toxic situations, you know, that I like, you know, just naturally kind of like will reflect on your own
Mhm.
life.
Mhm.
And he like definitely would be like, all right, we're gonna do this. Don't do that. Like,
That's a
so it's
very good relationship. And sometimes you have to like s- swallow that pill, right? Like, wait a minute,
yeah,
and then realize, like, okay, I see where you're coming from. You know what I mean? It might hurt a
exactly.
little bit at the beginning, but then you see where it's
Takes a
coming
little,
from.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But then I'm like, oh, he's right. You know,
yeah.
it's like you look in the mirror and you're like, that's not good.
No, that's cool. I'm happy that you guys are growing in that sense, and that you speak about that, because
Yeah.
people may be in relationships, and very early on in a relationship, you guys have so many years together that you guys have probably worked out through a lot of these, struggles, and
Yeah.
overcome so many things. And,
Yeah.
so for you guys that are watching, it took time to get here, right? The way I would love to
Absolutely.
interview him and see the other side of this at one point, but
Yes.
I just love how you guys are able to come together, not just in the work environment, but also at home as parents. With that being
Mhm.
said, do they ever clash?
With what? With the
Just your business as photographers, and then coming home and being parents.
you know, I think in a sense it does because I work we both work so much. So it's like, and I wouldn't say with our marriage, like our marriage we're solid, but I think like burnout is real, and I think it's important to like take a step back and to take breaks when needed, cuz like I'll do family sessions and I love family sessions. I adore family sessions, but I still have my own family that I have to come back home to. So
Mhm.
after chasing other kids around and stuff like that, and then I'm like completely exhausted and I have to come home and chase my kids around, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. And then I usually edit late at night, so because that's when they're sleeping, so then I'm like losing sleep, and then Elijah's losing sleep because he's editing too, so we're both looking at each other like we need to find the time and find a balance. And I think that's probably what I struggle the most with, is finding the balance and finding when you don't have to respond to an inquirer and when you don't have to be editing. And I need to like find the perfect amount.
Yeah, when
But
when
I
you
feel
love something, it's so hard to find it.
hard.
You know what I mean?
It's so
I tell my wife I'm not doing anything on a Sunday, but then here I am on a Sunday, and I'm replying, and I'm doing this, and
yep.
it's just because you truly love what you do.
Yeah.
What was it that you wanted to do before photography? Was there something in mind, or?
I honestly know. Like I said, like we just I didn't like I wasn't thinking about college. I didn't even think that that would be an option for me. Like so like my upbringing wasn't really like what do you want to do? Like do you want to go to school? Like we didn't really get asked those questions, but like it's not technically my mom's fault completely. My mom was an addict, so it was really hard for her, you know, to kind of like snap out of it and kind of get in tune with like what we wanted to do. So really, yeah, I was 16, living my wild life, ended up getting pregnant, and then yeah, like everything just kind of like the pieces started like falling into place. You know, I was a server before this for 4 years, and then I started doing photography full time in 2019. So right before all the COVID stuff, that's when I went full time.
Wow,
Was before COVID. Yeah.
that's actually really good to take that. So you started this business. How was that transition for you? Here goes you full-time photography, then we get COVID. How was that
Yeah.
transition?
So I think with when I was serving, and then when I knew I was ready to go full time, just before all the COVID mess, is when like I was like, okay, so I'm getting more, more inquiries about photo shoots, and I would be making more by doing the photo shoots than I would be serving, like sitting here serving. And with serving, it's like always a hit or miss. You could be making $20 one day and then $200 the next. So I was like, I have two kids now, or almost two kids now. No, I had two. Yeah, I just had my second daughter. And I was like, this isn't worth it, me turning down these people. And then just to go to my serving job, which I probably wasn't guaranteed that money. So then that's when I made the decision, like, okay, I'm gonna do this full time. And then literally I put my 2 weeks in, and then I have literally not looked back since. Not looked back. I didn't care about like being able to like have your own schedule and make your own schedule and literally decide if you don't want to work that day and not have to check in with anybody. That was huge to me, especially because being like not being able to be there for certain parts of my kids' lives and stuff because I'm doing that. Literally with photo shoots, they come with me everywhere. And if you're my client, you know my kids are either at the park down the street, they're in the studio, in the other room, like they come with us everywhere. And because of that, like we've been able to homeschool our oldest, like it's just it gives me more time, and that's so important to me. So important.
That's That's amazing. That is,
Thank
the whole the family inspiration of things and how this all has come about. I mean, kudos to the both of you guys for doing what you guys do. So 2 questions. So one of the questions is going to be, what did you learn from being a server? Because I'm pretty sure there was something there that you learned within that time. And then
yeah.
what are some of the things that you learned after being a entrepreneur, being a businesswoman? So we'll start off with, what do you learn as being a server that you still feel you can implement in life?
I think the social skills, like kind of just like I think I struggle with social anxiety and I feel like people are like, no, she does not. That's a lie. But deep down, like after I leave a shoot, I'm like, whew, okay, like reboot. And like with serving too, like, you know, you can't just completely ignore your tables. You know, you have to like engage with them if you want to make money and be nice and you know, and like I always think like putting a smile on your face and like even if you're a little sad, like if that makes
Mhm.
sense, but just making another person's day also helps me. Like socially serving helped me a lot being able to like move into photography, I would say. Yeah. Other than that, like fast paced. Yeah, being fast paced serving helped because I feel like photography is very fast paced too. Socially, yeah. That's what I was
No,
saying.
and the reason I want to touch on it is because people work sometimes, or people think that a job is bad, but in reality, you do learn a lot from some of these jobs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to me, anytime I go somewhere and I used to have to work somewhere, it's like, what's in it for me? What do I take out of it? What am I here for? And I think
I like that.
yeah, once you understand what that mission is, then it's easier for you to take what it is that you need and then get out. Because then you can
Exactly.
also get too comfortable though. Don't get too comfortable in that position and then you're there 10, 12 years. And it happens to some of us that we there for just a short period of time. We get too caught up on it because the people that you meet and so forth, so on, but they're not paying your bills. So go ahead and do what it is that you got to do.
Yeah, I
But
like that. I like that ideology behind it. I feel like I don't think I've even looked at it like that. I always looked at it like, let me get out here. Like I gotta go. I don't want to be
yeah.
here anymore. But I like
Okay.
I like that.
Perfect. So we figure out what the serving brought to you in that part of your life, and now you decide, you know what, I'm taking this leap of faith. I'm going to move on to the direction of being my own boss lady. What are some of the things that you learned there?
That there are so there's slow moments. Not everything. There's not going to be bookings every single day. Like, and I think that's where some people like they with entrepreneurship in general, not even just like photography, is that like every day's a good day. Every day we're making money, but it's like it's not like that. We could go a whole month like struggling and then another month it's like smooth sailing, you know, and it's like just being able to continue to have the motivation every single day and to keep putting in that same effort, if not even just a little bit more. It's like it's really important. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of like lose hope is they're like, oh, I'm not getting sales and I'm not getting this, but and then they, you know, they kind of give up and it's like that's at that point, that's when you need to go harder. Like look at it as like, okay, if this isn't coming in, what do I need to do to market myself to get this? Like, you know what I mean? To
Mhm.
get where I need to be. It's like it's not always easy, but when it gets to that point, it's gonna get easier. You just have to
Yeah,
keep pushing. Yeah.
no, for sure. Was there any time during you being a full-time photographer where you thought to yourself, like, maybe I should go back to surfing?
Absolutely. During COVID, I was like, "What? Like this is hard. It's hard out here." Because with photography, you know, they were banning like studios weren't open. You couldn't really go to studios to shoot. And then like in a sense like there were some times where I was doing outdoor photo shoots, but I would pull up to people's houses and we would do it like in the front yard and stuff like that so that we weren't like getting in trouble for being at like a public park. But it was like it was I don't know how to explain it. Like I even attended a couple births during COVID. Like I did birth photography, and it's just like it gets so, I don't know how to explain it. It gets so hard in a sense, like
Mhm.
when you're trying to like stay motivated about it. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm like,
No,
yeah, it's
I mean, what you're
yeah,
saying is completely accurate,
yeah,
right? Like there was a time where
yeah,
you have to figure it out. I had to pivot. You had to pivot to figure out, okay, well, I can't go out in public places. And I love what you said. I'm going to somebody's house. I'm gonna go get
yeah.
it. Like I'm gonna get
And
creative.
but I was almost like too, like, COVID was like, we were like COVID, like what? And then I also had, I think I was pregnant. Yeah, I was pregnant, and I had, I had two other daughters at home, and then in a sense, I'm like, should I be going to these people's houses? Like, I could be bringing
Yeah,
home COVID to my babies and to
yeah.
myself, and I was like, it was hard. Yeah, I definitely feel like COVID was the hardest part of my business in general, for sure.
But you got through it. Look at you. Look where you're
I
at
we
now.
did nice and strong.
It's part of a business. As a business individual, as an entrepreneur, there are the sacrifices you have to make. You were just
Yeah.
making those sacrifices you needed for your family, because at the end of the day, they also had to eat. You had to provide, as well.
Yeah.
So you provided the best that you can by staying healthy and safe as much as possible. Um, I love it. So homeschooling, where does that come about?
So my husband actually brought the idea around. We did homeschool her for preschool, and then kindergarten rolled around, and then it was still COVID. And I was like, you know what? If it's online anyway, like we could try. And she hated that, because it's like the 8 hours on the computer, and like
Mhm.
that's like borderline torture for a kindergartner. So
Yeah.
we pulled her out of that, and I was like, you know what? Let's just finish strong, like homeschooling her with kindergarten. And then first grade came around, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to put her in public school. Like, let's try it out. And she was going to, it's called like a language immersion school. I could be saying that wrong, but basically they learn, it was like 80% Spanish and 20% English. And I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, especially for my homeschooled child in her first year in public school. But it was not good. It was not going good. And then I put her in a regular public school, which was right down the street from my house. And I'm like, I'm very, very adamant on like spending time. And then my husband, he would like keep telling me, like, do you know that Bonnie spends more time at school with her teachers than she does us? And I was like, whoa, I never like really put it like that. And he's like, yeah, like if you total it all up, and he's like such a thinker, and he can't help himself when the thought arises, he has to say it. So then I was like, oh my gosh, like I never really thought about that at all. And then when we were talking about it, and then she just kind of kept getting into situations at school where like little girls were like spitting on her, and a little boy kicked her in the back of her calf, and I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. There were just like so many instances that like kept going into one, and my husband wanted so bad for her to be home with us, and I wanted that too, but I wanted her to be able to socialize, and like that was like a big part for me. But then eventually the pros and the cons, they weren't equal. It was like cons were outweighing the pros, and I could not do it. And then we had our fourth baby. Literally, we got the phone call. I think I had him like, he was like a month old, and the teacher called me, and she's like, "Hey, hey, Mrs. Williams. I just want to let you know, like, don't freak out, but the second grade class has a lice outbreak." And I was like, "Excuse me? Like, you mean like they all got lice?" And she's like, everybody but our classroom. I literally called my husband. I said, go get her right now. Please go get her. And that was her last day of school. And we've been homeschooling since October last year. And it's been literally amazing. We pack up her work and we go to the parks. We go to the zoo. She goes to photo shoots with me. She does it in the backyard. She does it anywhere. And it's just for our lifestyle and for how fast paced we move, it's easier. It's easier
Yeah.
for us. Yeah.
That's beautiful. No, that's a good. It was good to hear where you guys come from, because my wife, I have a
Yeah.
2-year-old, and she's already been talking about it. But I'm like, I, I was in public schools. Like, we can go to public
Same.
schools. You know what I
So
mean?
was my
So
husband. So that's why I'm like, where did homeschooling become so passionate? But it's scary times now too.
yeah,
Like with all the school shootings and stuff, that's terrifying. And then it's like you also have to like come. I also have to tell myself too, like to slow down, because I know that I am grateful for the opportunity to be able to homeschool, and I know that other people don't get that. They're not able to. And
mhm,
it's like I'm like, I can't imagine if I still had to put her in there. And like, honestly, the only reason why I would be for socially, because I feel like socially she still does kind of lack a little bit. Like, but that's only just something that we have to just like put a little bit more into.
And I think that's where I'm at, is that social skill. Even now, with my wife being a stay-at-home mom and just
Mhm.
being home all day with her, we have to make sure that we take her out and about because, the social skills. Also because she'll be
Yeah.
running around and coloring all over my walls, but that's a whole different
Yes.
story.
They're so feral. They're so feral.
I
They're
love this. I
crazy.
love to hear about the family and how you really incorporate this into, your journey and into your business and things like that. What are some of the values that you want your kids to live by? I mean, it looks like you guys are so family oriented. Have you ever come up with values on what that looks like for your kids?
I think so. Yeah, I think like it's pretty, so we try to talk about like entrepreneurship a lot in our family. Like we don't really ask her like what she like, what she would want to be outside of like stuff like that. Like she draws a lot. So like a value, like how we try to like do it is like she'll be like, "Mommy, I can sell my paint and I can sell my art and I can sell my painting." And like we try to like instill, I know it sounds crazy, but it's important to start like early. We always ask her like, "Okay, so what are you gonna do with that money, and like where are you gonna put it?" And she'll instantly be like, "I'm gonna go to the store," and we're like, "No, like we should save it." And we try to like talk about like saving money and like value, like other outside of money and stuff like that. We try to talk about like the long term of like making sure your family is like financially set up for success. And like we talk with our 8-year-old about that a lot. Like
Yeah.
so financial success, I feel like that's a huge value in our house. And like just like knowing that like your family is a big part of like who you've got. So instilling like siblings and making sure that you guys are loving on each other and like being each other's best friend, because she struggles too. She's 8 and the second one is only 4. So she's like, "Oh, get away from me." But we try to be
Yeah.
like, "That's gonna be your best friend one day, girl." Like
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
yeah. So like, like financial success and love is a big part in our family. And like, and yeah, and then another value is like just being kind. And in our house, like how we operate in the morning, we don't really like get on our phones and stuff like that. We don't do a lot of screen time in our house. We like try to engage a lot with our kids. We play a lot of Uno. Like we play, there's it's just, I feel like our household, it looks very different from the other moms that like I engage with. Like a lot of YouTube goes on, and like my daughter doesn't even know what TikTok dances are and stuff, which is like no shade and stuff like that. But I take a lot of pride in keeping my baby in her nice little bubble.
Yeah. I love it. No, all that is an amazing. Everything that you're saying is amazing, especially when it comes to that financial part of things. Um,
Yeah.
it's something that I wish someone would have taught me at a very young age, right? You go out there, you
Same.
make money, you blow money, and then realize when you become an adult, wait a minute, no one taught me about the
Right.
saving part of things.
Or that. Literally, I was just, me and my husband just had that conversation, is nobody tells you how hard it is to save. Like you can make all the money that you want in the world, but can you keep it? And like
Yeah,
somebody could give you $20,000 today and it could be gone tomorrow.
yeah,
It's like, what are you going to do with that money to keep it coming and to keep it flowing and to even double it, quadruple it, whatever? Like,
yeah.
what are you going to invest in? Like, so it's like, it's
Good
tough.
values, good values. I actually sat
Yes.
with my 2-year-old yesterday, and I was paying bills yesterday. Yesterday was pay the bills day, and I'm showing her like, yeah, like this is the amount. This we're gonna do here, and if you instill that in that now, then they will understand when they receive that dollar, from grandpa, grandma, uncle, aunt, what to do with it, right? It's not, oh, we're just gonna buy candy, but maybe save it for something that you really want. A lot of times they also take that for granted. They just think that, we buy them everything they want, but don't realize that it takes time to add that up, to save that, to give you what you want. So I think those are some
Yeah.
amazing values your house, and the whole thing of
Yeah.
no phones. We're in a time where, yeah, the phones are everything. Sometimes I'm pretty sure even as a server you will see that families are sitting there
Yeah.
waiting for their foods, and all 4 or 5 of them are in their phones, and maybe the
It's
child is just kind of there, just you know missing
horrible.
out on what it is to be a part of the family. So
Yeah, and it's sad. And then, like even as adults, like our phones impact us so much as adults, like mentally and emotionally. And so it's like how I try to look at it is like my daughter has a phone and it's strictly for like emergencies or when she wants to play Minecraft for like 30 minutes. And like even taking the phone from playing Minecraft, when you see like the mental breakdown that is about to emerge, you're like, no way. There's like, I'm like, no way you're getting that back. But we feel that in a sense too.
Mm.
Like, you know, like whether we admit it or not, when we're like, where's my phone? And like freaking out, you know, I don't want her to feel like that, especially so young on how she is. Like we're here to set our kids up for mental success. And I feel like social media and the phones and all that are prohibiting all of that, especially in the younger ages right now. It's hard. So yeah, big on that, heavy on it.
Mercedes, I commend you and your husband. You guys are doing a phenomenal job from everything that I'm hearing, and I wish you guys nothing but success. Now, with the success does come. I don't want people to, as I mentioned earlier in the interviews, that I don't want people to think that you wake up like this, right? That it just happened to you overnight. It seems, especially at very, very early on for you, life really took a
Mhm.
huge change when you became a mom, right?
Yeah.
And some people are not fortunate to be able to still be with their significant other, to
Mhm.
be with their children at that time as well. You've taken the responsibility, you owned up to it, you are who you are today. What are some of the things that you may have experienced that you would want to share with someone that may be in the same predicament now as a 16, 17-year-old young lady? What are some of the things that you would like to share to them during this time in their journey?
Yeah, like so being so young and then like not knowing like my I always I don't like to say a purpose, but I always tell people it's like find something you love and go with it and run with it. Like when I was 16, I literally you could have not told me that this is where I would have been in life. And like you said, like a lot of people don't get to have like the family that they created from the jump. And that's okay. That's completely okay. And like there's some, but I still went through so much stuff. Like I feel like everything that I went through, I feel so deserving. And I know I say that so humbly because I went through so much as a child. My mom was an addict, like we were homeless, and then like literally 16 and pregnant, 17 when I had my daughter. Like everything that could have came and crashed and crumbled on my life, I didn't allow. And like I didn't like it's not that I didn't feel sorry for myself in a sense. And I just tried like to always make things better, especially for my daughter and for my family. And even for my like I love the shit out of my mom. My mom is my best friend. Like she's been sober for years now and like just not feeling bad for myself and making sure that I put the effort out there and like you have to go hard like every day. And I know every day there are days where you don't even want to get out of bed, but those days are the most important days. Like when you have to you have to do it. Like I look at my kids and I'm like, all right, like we're gonna do this. It's okay. I'm gonna be okay. Like borderline mental breakdown. And it's like, yeah, it's tough. But when it's tough, it's gonna get bright. When it's cloudy, like there's the sun will shine through. That's how I try to look at it.
I agree. I agree. That is a very good analogy. I use it I say it a different way, but any way that we can see that sometimes through dark times there's a light. You have to, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, get up even on those bad days.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So where there's times, I guess, going through that you were asking yourself, like, is this really life? Like, is this what I want? Because
Yes.
people ask this question, and even myself, kind of doing these interviews, people think I got it all going
Hmm.
together, right? Because they see someone like you and they think that everything is just perfect for you. But
I feel that.
do you feel that there was times that things weren't perfect, but you still had to overcome it? And who was there to help you through those moments? Is it something that you did personally, or was it someone that, as your husband or family, that was able, or is it you just mentally telling yourself things? What are some of those things that you were encountering during those times?
So it's definitely like it's definitely my husband like all the way. Like I know I sound like but like literally when I say my man, like I really mean that because in my darkest times, in my like I don't want to do this anymore, like he's always there. He's always there for like the words of encouragement. Like we do a lot of like self-reflecting, you know? So it's like it gets hard. Entrepreneurship is hard. Like being self-made is not all what it like comes out to be. And like and that's the reality of it. It's okay not to glorify that. And you know, but it is worth it. And like there's times where I don't want to go to photo shoots. I don't want to go talk to anybody. I don't, and they're booked. They're there like day of. And he just like, you know, he encourages me like, it's okay. Like we got this. And, you know, and in a sense, like eventually I want photography to not only be our main source of income. And I want it to be like create other avenues on how we can, you know, do that too. So it's like, it's hard. You get lost. I always tell people burnout is real. It's real for real, especially when you're trying to divide your work life and your home life. And like, I'm like, why? I'm like, yeah, it's tough out here.
It is.
It's rewarding.
It is. It looks easy. We make it look easy, but it's not easy, right?
Not.
Yeah, them beautiful photos you see on social media. They always sometimes that she's like, do I edit this or do I not edit this? Do I show up? Do I not show up?
Yeah,
So yeah,
hard.
I'm happy that you're honest about it. So people can actually see that if they want to do something, it's always possible, but it's not something that is going to be handed to you either. It's something that you got to go and get. How important is it for you to have someone like your husband?
It's so important. I tell my friends all the time, I'm like, girl, do not settle. Do not settle. Find your person. It's so important. Literally, like best friend, soulmate, husband, all of that in one. And like, it literally brings tears to my eyes because I would have never thought that I would have been able to find somebody like that so young. Like, you know, obviously we're not like, we're going to be lovers and we're going to get married.
Mhm.
And, you know, especially like given our circumstance, like he's amazing. He's like the perfect package all in one.
Sounds like it. If we got a best husband, father award,
Right.
I'm definitely he's it. He's definitely
got
winning.
some attitude though, so we're not gonna make him all that perfect.
You know what? Don't we all? Don't we all?
I know, yeah.
Don't we all?
Balance.
No, that's cool. That's so cool that you were blessed in that way. And
yeah, he's super supportive in everything that I do. Everything that I do.
And that you highlighted, you know, life wasn't always the best for me, but I didn't make excuses for it either. I took that and I said, how do I make it better for myself? You know,
exactly.
And you did exactly that. And it's not just so much for yourself. You had to do it for your kids.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
It's greater than us at this point. It's forget about us. We put ourselves on the back burner at times. It's what smile, what purpose do I have? And it's really our kids. When you get to that point, a lot of people tend to shy away from that, you know, on, hey, I'm a parent now. What do I live for? You live for what's in front of you. You live for the next generation of people. And even for you to go and help families, you're almost a therapist, would you say?
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So that goes back to that the mental capacity of things. Is like, yeah, I'm a photographer, but I make people feel so good through your energy, through your spirit, through your kids, through your husband. That they're able to see love and connection. So what you guys are doing is beyond just photography. I just want you guys to know that. I can only imagine that someone is booking a session that they're receiving so much more than a dope photo. They're receiving an experience as well.
Absolutely. I always tell you, you book me for the energy, baby. Okay, the pictures come second.
Yeah, absolutely. Because of time, we're 43 minutes in, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to ask the question: what was that know your worth moment that allowed you to know, like, photography is me all day? Like, this is what I'm doing. What was that know your worth moment?
Dang, I don't know. There's so many of those moments. It's hard to like pack it into one, but like when you leave a photo shoot and like you're showing the people like my husband hates showing people the back of the camera, but I love doing it. It's like finding your thing. But seeing their faces light up and knowing that I did that, like I made you feel that good. And then even with Boudoir, like with the lingerie photography, that aspect, that one is like the most rewarding. Like those women come in feeling so vulnerable and like, you know, already and insecure, and they leave feeling like a whole new person. Like, so being able to take part in those moments, it's the little things become the so big things. And like, you know, I feel like I get to literally capture time and freeze it, and people get to cherish that forever. So that's when I was like, damn, like this is what I really, really love. Like people are going to be able to look back at my pictures and be like, Mercedes took this, and they get to
Yeah.
have that forever. That's dope.
Mm,
That's my favorite part of it for sure.
thank you. Thank you. One more question, just because I would love to know where your mind is right now. What do you tell young Mercedes?
But it's gonna be better. It's gonna get better. And
Love it.
it's okay. You're not gonna be sleeping on the hotel couch much longer. Like we're gonna be doing big things.
You're a true inspiration to
Thank
everyone's watching. You're inspiration to your kids. I'm pretty sure you're inspiration to everyone you come across. Continue to be so amazing. Now we all see why you were nominated for this. It's not just the photography; it's the story behind it. And a lot of times, people want to glorify
you.
what they
Hmm.
see, but really glorify my story, right? And for you, is glorify that story.
Yeah.
I fought to get here. I'm still fighting to be where I'm at,
Hmm.
and we just thank you so much for your time. And you have to give a shout out to your daughter. Don't forget. So this is the time where you
I
give a
know.
shout out to your
We
daughter.
have to mention her. So Bonnie Love, mommy's mentioning you. And I love you, baby.
Thank you so much for your time,
Thank
Mercedes,
you.
guys.
I'm
This
so
has
glad you
been.
remember that. She would have been on me.
I had to. I had to. You know what? I to me, it's so kids is it's a huge thing because we all
Yes.
go through so many things in life, and this is gonna make her moment. All you gotta do is go play this little one
Exactly.
moment, and she'll be excited about it.
Exactly.
So I wanted to make sure that we can do that. But guys, thank you guys so much. It has been Know Your Worth TV. We have another nominee, Mercedes. Remember that you can go ahead and follow her. Let's go ahead and pull up your social media as I close this out. You can go ahead and see her at Mercedes Lens Photography. See some of the dope photos through her bio. You can just not just see the photos there. You can see her husband's photos. You can see her risque photos. All dope, dope photos though. And if you're in the area, well, even if you're not in the area, I'm pretty sure she's willing to travel if the money is right. And if you know her kids are coming with her too. But you guys can go to her website, go ahead and book your next session. She does have some events coming up, so also tap into that. Thank you for the Content Creators Experience for putting this together and for collaborating with me on this. Remember, there's a show coming up June the 28th. The second annual Spotlight Awards is going to take place at 7 p.m. in Miami, so you don't want to miss it. Go to contentcreatorsexp.com to get your tickets. And every single ticket is actually going back to two organizations. So one of the organization is Filling Empty Wombs, and the other one is youngdreams.co. So go get your tickets. Make sure that you don't know now you know you're not just supporting a nominee, but you're supporting other organizations as well, so we can continue to give back to the community. My name is Ephraim. This has been Know Your Worth TV, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.